we're going to get started. I guess my mic is on. Everybody can hear me. Excellent. Good morning, everyone. Oh, wow. I like that. Louder this time. Good morning, everyone. Very good. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to a morning with Professor Ernő Rubik, student competition and discussion. My name is Karen Schwartz, Associate Vice President, Research and International at Carleton University, and I will be your MC for this morning. I'd like to formally welcome Her Excellency Mária Vass-Salazar, Ambassador of the Embassy of Hungary to Canada, Professor Ernő Rubik, inventor of the Rubik's Cube, and other esteemed guests on our beautiful campus. Also joining us today is Dr. Antoine, I reorganized your name, Benoit-Antoine, President and Vice Chancellor of Carleton University, and Dr. Rafik Goubran, Research and International, Vice President, Research and International. Before we officially begin, I would like to take a moment on behalf of the Carleton community to say that we acknowledge and respect the Algonquin people, traditional custodians of the land on which the university campus is situated. Of course, everybody knows why we have gathered here this morning. Professor Rubik, using all of his creativity and ingenuity, created a puzzle that would go on to capture the interest of millions of people across generations around the world. I would like to personally thank Professor Rubik for coming to Carleton and for the wonderful opportunity that he has given Carleton staff and students. I'm confident that I speak on behalf of everyone when I say that we are honored and lucky to have you with us today. For many of us, interest in the Rubik's Cube starts when we are kids, as we can clearly see by the young age of the people who are here, as well as some of our even younger guests. We begin to challenge ourselves as we get older to see how fast we can solve it. To do so requires the memorization of algorithms, as you here all know, and other problem-solving skills, and the more you remember, the faster you are. My personal experience with the Rubik's Cube is very limited, but it involves my daughter's partner, who has been in competitions, but more importantly for me, has used the cube to help build the confidence for underprivileged children at the Boys and Girls Club here in Ottawa. And it's been a very effective tool for him to use with these children to help build their confidence. Carleton considers the Rubik's Cube a feat of innovation, one that has been updated and improved upon as time went on. With innovation comes risk and failure, but it can also bring success and inspiration, which I think is an important message, not just for our students who are here, but for all of us. I don't know how many iterations of the cube Professor Rubik went through before he perfected his original design, but I'm sure, hopefully, that you would agree that there was a lot of trial and error involved, and look at the outcomes of all that perseverance and trial and error. In just a few minutes, we will hear from some of our esteemed guests, which will be followed by our Rubik's Cube student competition. And then there will be some professional Speedcubers who are starving and ran to go get breakfast. And one last speech before I sit down with Professor Rubik for a moderated question and answer. Planning an event such as this presents its fair share of challenges, especially during a pandemic. While the situation in Ottawa has certainly improved over the last couple of months, there are still many restrictions and obstacles that we have to contend with. My personal gratitude goes out to everyone from Carleton, the Embassy of Hungary, and beyond, who have had a role in organizing this event under a difficult situation. Thank you all for your dedication and tireless work ethic. Before I pass the floor to the first speaker, just a few housekeeping items. The health and safety of all of our guests is paramount, and so we ask that everyone keep their masks on over their mouth above their nose at all times. Even the speakers need to do so while they are on the stage, as I am doing now. In classrooms all around us, our professors are lecturing with their masks on, and our students wear them throughout the class. And so if they can do it, we can do it as well. Also, please be aware that by being here, you are consenting to be recorded and photographed, which might be used at a later date for promotional purposes. I'm sure everyone is very eager to get the event underway. So with that, I'd like to welcome Her Excellency Mária Vass-Salazar to that podium over there, Ambassador of the Embassy of Hungary to Canada, to share a few words of opening remarks. I had the pleasure of meeting Ambassador, and then I'll finish and turn it over to you. I had the pleasure of meeting the Ambassador in March 2021 to discuss this event. It's been a long journey getting to this point, but we pushed ahead with our dream about a fun event to inspire us all to be more creative and innovative. We at Carleton look forward to many more collaborations between the university and the embassy. Ambassador.
Well, thank you very much, and particularly thank you for at the university setting. Calling me professor, that's my aspiration for the future, actually. But currently, I'm very, very humbled to be here, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Distinguished Professor Rubik, President Bacon, Vice President Goubran, Associate Vice President Schwartz, and most importantly, distinguished students, our next generation of leaders. It is an honor for me to say a few words at this exceptionally unique event with Professor Rubik, the inventor of the iconic Rubik's Cube. As ambassador, my primary goal is to build bridges and strengthen cooperation between Canada and Hungary. In these endeavors, a personal priority for me is to focus on identifying connections in the area of science, technology, and innovation. Therefore, when I learned that an innovative Canadian company, Spin Master, acquired the Rubik's brand, I immediately thought that this merger of Hungarian ingenuity and Canadian entrepreneurship provides a great opportunity for building strong partnerships. The Rubik's Cube is a universal expression of creativity and innovation, and it has attracted millions of people around the world to solve, or at least try to solve, its challenging puzzle. And I'm particularly pleased that we could organize this visit to the prestigious Carleton University to talk about what the Rubik's Cube means to young Canadians. I'm certain that the discussions today will inspire and motivate all of us to cultivate our own creativity, to strengthen our problem-solving skills, and enjoy a fun way of learning. I would like to express my appreciation to the leadership of the university for hosting us here today and for making it possible for students to meet Professor Rubik, both in person and virtually. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador, for your valued insight. And once again, it's a pleasure having you speak here today. And I also look forward to more collaborations between Canada and Hungary, as is represented by Spin Masters purchasing the Rubik's Cube. I would now like to welcome to the stage President and Vice Chancellor Benoit-Antoine to share a few words. As our president, Benoit has been a huge proponent of mental health awareness and services on campus, especially our therapy dogs from pre-COVID days, which I miss. We're currently revising and updating our mental health strategy to ensure that we are providing excellent service. And I know a lot of people have talked about how the Rubik's Cube has helped improve people's mental health and confidence. And so it's a particular pleasure to have Professor Bacon speak today.
Thank you very much, Karen, for the kind introduction and for highlighting our work on mental health. So important. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. J'espère que ça va bien. Let me start with a warm welcome to everyone here in person. It's great to have an in-person event again. And hello, I think this is the camera for online. Hello to everyone that is joining the live stream as well. I'll start by acknowledging the presence of our esteemed guest, of course, Her Excellency Mária Vass-Salazar. Your Excellency, thank you for your boldness and for the partnership in making this happen today. This is really your work, and I'm grateful for that. We have Antoine Cantin in the room. I saw Antoine. Where is he? There you are, Antoine. I saw you solve a cube in 9 seconds on YouTube yesterday, one-handed. So I look forward to see your work live and in person. Thanks for being here. And of course, Professor Rubik, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a great honor for the university. The past year's been hard with the pandemic, but I'm proud of how we've persevered through these difficulties. And now we're back in person. We're coming on to the other side. For me, it highlighted the importance of maintaining a community, maintaining our connections. Karen mentioned mental health. Isolation is terrible on mental health, and it's good to be all together again. And again, Your Excellency, this is your work, and I'm really pleased that we're further strengthening our links with the Embassy of Hungary. In addition, of course, to student enrollments and student exchanges, Carleton enjoys many collaborations with the great country of Hungary. We currently have an MOU with Budapest University of Technology and Economics to support research, collaboration, capacity building, other forms of academic partnerships in autonomous vehicles, literally self-driving cars. How cool is that? 12 Carleton faculty members have research interest in Hungary, and we've also hosted a number of visiting scholars from various Hungarian universities over the year. I'm really proud to add a morning with Ernő Rubik to this long list of joint initiatives. This is truly a unique event. I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to be involved in something quite like this before that really stands out, and I think we'll all remember this for a very, very long time. Needless to say that since its initial release, the cube's impact on pop culture has been enormous, monumental. It's the world's best-selling puzzle toy. It's led to numerous global competitions and Guinness World Records. Like everyone, I had a cube. Everybody that grew up in the 80s had a cube. And back then, to solve it was considered the summum of intelligence. I could never solve it. That tells you something about me. My daughter does. She's around 1 minute, but she was too shy to come in this morning. It's a great privilege to host you here, Professor Rubik. Thank you so much for coming to Carleton and for your generosity in signing cubes and interacting with our students and for everything that you're doing here with our community. I hope you're enjoying the visit and that you're also enjoying your stay in the national capital of Ottawa. So everybody, I'm really looking forward to the competition. Good luck, everyone. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Becron, for those remarks and for your wonderful leadership here at Carleton, especially during a pandemic. I would now like to welcome Dr. Rafik Goubran, Vice President, Research and International, to the stage. So if you ever want to be really wowed, ask Dr. Goubran to see some of his inventions, his amazing inventions that are the product of his innovating spirit. Dr. Goubran.
Thank you, Karen. Good morning, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. It's great pleasure to be here this morning. So welcome, Professor Rubik, and to our esteemed guest, Her Excellency Mária Vass-Salazar, and the professional Speedcubers, Thompson Clark and Bill Wang. I'm looking forward to your demonstration later this morning, and I saw some demonstration yesterday that were really amazing. So the Rubik Cube is, as you might know, one of the best-selling toys of all times, with over 450 million have been sold over the past 40 years. As a three-dimensional puzzle, the Rubik Cube is both challenging, but also a lot of fun, and it stimulates the mind in many ways. For example, it improves memory, it improves patience, it improves concentration. It also requires perseverance, as I'm sure anyone who has an unsolved Rubik Cube on the shelf will tell you. I had the pleasure of enjoying the Rubik Cube in the 80s while I was a student, and I kept enjoying them all over until now. But most importantly, it improves problem-solving skills, as we've learned yesterday. So the Rubik's Cube allows us to break a problem down into smaller parts and to address each issue one by one, while also thinking about how each small part affects the whole thing. And isn't this, as a student, teacher, and researcher, what we strive to do every day? Our goal is to use the power of research to solve problems, to explore the puzzles we face in our communities, classrooms, research groups, and labs, and to uncover innovative solutions to life's many puzzles. At Carleton, we want to inspire our students to make discoveries like the Rubik's Cube. We want to combine creativity and the love of learning with engaged scholarship and research. So real research comes when people are engaged, and I always tell my students that the fantastic outcomes from research is when you treat your research as a hobby that you do as opposed to just work that you go and do. One of the ways we can do this is by fostering relationships with international universities and building connections between students and faculty members. In doing so, we can collaborate on shared issues, create stronger opportunities for students and researchers, and bring our communities together for the greater good. With Hungary, Carleton University shares research interests in many fields, going from physics to neuroscience to biology, chemistry, public policy, business, and engineering, with special interest in the area of autonomous vehicles, also the area of aerospace, the area of instrumentation and measurement. There has been a lot of collaborations, and in particular the area of medical measurements as well with various universities in Hungary. So for example, we have the MOU with the Budapest University of Technology and Economics, supporting research collaborations, capacity building, and other forms of academic partnerships in the field of autonomous, connected, and networked vehicles. International collaborations like these bring researchers together to share ideas and discover solutions to global challenges. At Carleton, we're looking forward to extending our collaborations with Hungary. Working together is essential as we are to generate and share knowledge that responds to social needs and inspires innovation and imaginations like the Rubik Cube did. Thank you, Karen. And now I will turn back the stage to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Goubran, for participating in this event. It's always a pleasure to hear you speak. Okay, now comes the fun part. Competitors, take a deep breath. Okay, and now pay attention to the rules. It's now time to move to the Rubik's Cube student competition. Enthusiasm for this far exceeded our expectations. We had 70 Carleton students register to compete, and you 8 were the lucky ones who get to do so. Take a deep breath. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Before we begin, a quick breakdown of how this is going to run. The competition will be divided into quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. At the quarterfinals, our 8 competitors will face off in 4 separate one-on-one rounds. In each pairing, the competitor with the fastest time will advance. In the semifinals, these 4 winners will compete in 2 separate one-on-one rounds. The 2 winners will move to the finals. I have to read this because I won't remember it unless I read it. The 2 winners of the semifinals will compete in 3 separate rounds. Their total times will be added up and averaged. One of my staff, Nathaniel Whalen, I'm saying he's from Price Waterhouse, like at the Olympics. He's the one who's going to be doing the calculations for us and judging the fastest time. The winner will receive an autographed copy of Mr. Rubik's brand new book, Cubed, the Puzzle of Us All. However, all the competitors will get to take home special Rubik's Cubes that have been very generously donated by the Embassy. Thank you. So now I'd like to welcome to the stage professional speed cubers Bill Wang and Thompson Clark. Can you please stand behind this table and mix up the cubes before the competitors come up here?
Okay.
So mix them all up. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now it's worth noting that everyone's going to get the same scramble so that it's fair for all competitors. Everyone has the same chance at a lucky.
If you can do that, I am impressed. Oh, really? Seriously? Totally cool. Excellent. Wow. Far exceeding my expectations. Okay. And then after you mix them all up, there's wipes and towels. You have to wipe them down with the towels to sanitize, with the wipes, and then sanitize them, okay? All right. Okay, so all competitors, you're going to be using these cubes, all right? And they're all going to be mixed up identically. I'm so impressed. For the quarterfinals, the pairings have been randomly selected. So get ready to come up to the stage, Joshua Boston and Jen Bobe, both of whom are representing the Faculty of Engineering and Design. They will be in our first round. So why don't Joshua and Jen please come up? Joshua, okay. So stand in front of these two tables. All right. There's a timer, and those little cameras will be focused on the cube, not on you, so that the people at home can see, or the people streaming can see the countdown timer as well as the cubes. So once these guys are finished sanitizing and drying, you may have a seat once you're finished sanitizing and drying.
Who is starting the stopwatch?
The students, the competitors. All right. Okay, you're going to give one to Joshua too?
Yep.
All right.
So competitors get some time to inspect the puzzle to plan out what they want to do.
Okay.
If that's okay.
He's making up the rules here. All right, go ahead.
So we'll give a count of 15 seconds, and whenever you're both ready to begin inspecting. Ready? Yep. Okay, inspect.
Okay, so you two can return to your seats. We'll have you. Oh, I see. You're doing the 15 seconds. Okay. Okay, so put your hands on the table, competitors. Put the cubes down. Put your hands on the table. I'm going to count to 3. On the count of 3, you touch the pad to start the clock. You do the cube, and then when you're done, you touch it to stop it. All right? Understood? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. 1, 2, 3. Touch the pad and then start. Don't worry, keep going.
Yeah.
It's a handicap. It's our fault.
I'm not used to this one. So how y'all doing?
You're doing great.
Is there a point where I can give up? Because I'm past a minute. Oh, gosh, okay.
Sure, go ahead. Yay! Thank you. So, Joshua, you are our winner. You will continue to the next stage. Thank you so much, Jen. I really appreciate it. And we have our able crew. Okay, so next up, Michael Fairbairn and Kamal Mayurgi. Michael and Kamal, there we are. Pick whichever table you like. All right, so you'll get 15 seconds to inspect the cubes, and then we'll be off on round 2. The excitement is mounting.
Both ready to inspect? Inspect first.
I will add that both of these competitors are from the Faculty of Science.
12 seconds.
Our previous competitors did the Faculty of Engineering and Design proud. Are you ready? Yep. Okay, hands on the table. Remember, touch the clock, do the cube, touch the clock. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Excellent. Congratulations, Michael. Great job. Thank you, Kamal. You both did the Faculty of Science proud. Okay, the next 2 competitors, while our speed cubers are assisting us with the wiping and the drying, are Andrea Chan and Janeth Venanachi. Please come up. You can pick a table, whichever table. Both of them are from the Faculty of Engineering and Design as well. Okay, you ready to inspect the cube? All right, remove the paper. Oh.
So we'll wait for 15 seconds, and then we'll cover it back up. Okay, 15 seconds, so competitors.
Okay, I'll do the countdown, hands on the table. So remember, touch the clock, do the cube, touch the clock. 1, 2, 3, go.
Wow.
Excellent. Thank you, thank you. Again, you've both done the faculty proud. All right. Finally, our last competitors in this round, Yura Burmistrov and James Herbert, please come up. Excellent. And both of, so Yura is from the Faculty of Science and James is our only candidate from the Sprott School of Business. Yay.
seconds. 15. Okay.
Okay, ready? Hands on the table. So remember, touch the clock.
Hands flat on the table.
Touch the clock. Do the cube. Touch the clock again. 1, 2, 3, go. So let's give a round of applause for all of our competitors. Thank you all. You're all working with strange cubes and a strange environment and every attention focused on you. So I thought you did a great job, all of you. Thank you. So while we have our cubes cleaned and dried and mixed, that's the right word. So we will be having Andrea Chan from the Faculty of Engineering and Design, James Herbert from Sprott School of Business, Joshua Boston from the Faculty of Engineering and Design, and Michael Fairbairn from the Faculty of Science. So all of you will get ready for the second round. This will be made up of 2 one-on-one rounds. We'll run it the same way we did the first rounds, and then the winners of the quarterfinals will square off alphabetically by first name. Oh, so you've already put them alphabetically by first name for me. Thank you. So Andrea and James will be the first 2 up. So yeah, come and you can stand by the tables and we'll get you your cubes as soon as they're... And then Joshua and Michael will be in the second round.
I think so. I think the camera will capture it. Do what's most comfortable for your solving picture.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Did you mix it differently this time than the first time?
Different scramble, but they both have the same scramble.
Excellent. I think you guys have done this before.
Couple
One
times.
I'm glad we have experts.
Seconds.
Okay, hands on the table, flat on the table. Remember, touch the clock, pick up the cube, touch the clock. 1, 2, 3, go. rest of you, but my heart was racing on that one. Oh my gosh. So what's the difference?
0.48 seconds.
0.48 seconds. Oh my goodness. Wow. Well, James, you are the winner and you will go on to the semifinals. Thank you so much, Andrea. It's hard to lose by so close. I'm so sorry. Okay, Joshua and Michael, come on up, pick a table. If this is as close as the first one was, I don't know. Too much excitement. All right, so you have some time to memorize the cube.
Ready? Okay. 12 seconds. Okay, 15 seconds. So
Okay, hands flat on the table. Remember, touch the clock, do the cube, touch the clock. 1, 2, 3, go. Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Thank you both. So I believe that was Price Waterhouse. Thank you. James and Michael are proceeding to the finals. Remember, there'll be 3 rounds, and we will average the 3 scores, and that will decide who the winner is. I don't know if I can stand the excitement. All right, so if we can have James and Michael. Wow, Sprott in science. What happened to engineering? I don't know. But I'm very proud of science and the business school. This is so exciting. All right, they're preparing. They'll be mixed differently again this time, but identically, and sanitized and dried. The things we do during COVID. I have to say, one of my staff practiced on the weekend, sanitizing and drying them and finding the best way to sanitize and dry them so it wouldn't slow people down too much. So are you guys going to want to take a break after each round? Walk around the table? No, or just go right into the next round?
doesn't matter to me. I'm cool to just keep going.
Yeah, all right. Plow right through. Here we go. You guys deal with stress way better than I do. Well, just give them one at a time. Oh, okay, sorry. Sorry. I forget. I'm dealing with experts. Excellent. Thank you, guys. I didn't know that I'd have to work you so hard. All right. You get 15 seconds to look at the cubes.
Ready?
Okay.
12 seconds. And both competitors ready.
Hands flat on the table. Touch the clock. Pick up the cube. Touch the clock when I get to 3. So 1, 2, 3, go. Excellent. Round 2, different cubes. So exciting. Oh. Hands flat. Touch the clock, pick up the cube, touch the clock on the count of 3. So 1, 2, 3, go. Yay, very good, very good. Excellent. Okay, this is the last round. Take a deep breath, competitors. Get ready for your new cube.
Just as easy as ready? Seconds.
Okay, hands down, touch the clock, pick up the cube, touch the clock when you're done on 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, from Price Waterhouse. Oh, this feels like the Academy Awards. I'm so excited. And the winner is Michael. Yay. Michael, could you come up to the stage? I just have a few questions I'd like to ask you, and then I'll ask Professor Rubik to come and sign the book for him. So if you just want to come up here, I have a microphone for you. Do you guys automatically turn this on? Here, Michael, come here. While the professor gets up there. Okay. So, how did you learn to solve the cube so fast?
Well, I first learned to solve the cube back in 2011, 2010, so a while ago. And then partway in, I was just sort of motivated to keep on improving. I learned a more advanced method in the summer of 2012, I think. And it was after seeing a friend of mine do really, really well in the cube, it got me even more motivated to sort of push my time lower and lower. I competed in a tournament in 2015, 2016, competing in a competition. And yeah, over time, I just dedicated a lot of time to improving, stopping like pause times, not looking ahead, and just being more efficient with the cube. Over time. Now these cubes are not quite as like I don't want to say like not as good, but
Okay, they're different.
yeah, different than the one. So I had to try to adjust accordingly. But yeah, I'm happy it worked out.
And you said you've been in one other competition or a number of competitions?
I've been in 4 competitions. They're all in the same place in Rockland.
Okay.
World Cubing Association competitions.
Yeah.
Very fun experience. I always have a lot of fun because there's a lot of people that you get to meet, a lot of people, that have shared experiences. It's always really nice to see that and socialize. And the competition is nice as well.
Excellent. And I know that you're in the Faculty of Science. What program are you in?
Well, specifically, I'm in mathematics, math honors.
And why did you choose that?
It's kind of a long story, but I actually was in software engineering before this, 3 years in software engineering. And then over time, I was like, yeah, software engineering, it's not really working for me. I've always found myself more focused on the math aspect of it. So I decided to make the tough decision to switch over. So I'm in my 2nd year of this new program right now. I'm very happy with it.
Excellent. Thank you. So if you'll go stand next to Professor Rubik, and we'll have give me the microphone first, and then we'll do a picture, and he has signed it for you. So, official photo of the winner and Professor Rubik.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you to all the participants. It really took a lot of courage to come out here today and do this, so I really appreciate it. And I can't do the cube, so I am definitely in awe of all of you for the speed and the agility that you've done this. Okay, I'd like to move on to the next portion of our event, the Speedcube demonstration. So the Embassy graciously invited 2 Speedcubers to come and give a demonstration. Bill Wang and Thompson Clark are professional Speedcubers. Bill is considered one of Canada's top cubers. He gained multiple North American records in the 3x3x3 cube, the 4x4x4 cube, the 4x4x4 cube blindfolded. I could go on. Thompson has won cube competitions all over the world. He can solve the cube with his feet, but we're not going to ask him to do that today. Thank you. And in the Guinness Book of World Records, he has won for the most number of puzzles solved underwater with 1 breath. Right? Is that true? Yeah. Okay. Excellent. So if you will come up here and please do your demonstration.
Hello everyone, and thank you for having us at Carleton University. It's a pleasure. Bill Wing and I think, are going to put on a similar demonstration to the race that we saw our amazing competitors do. We're going to move it a bit faster, and we'll scramble each other's cubes.
So I have a blindfold in case you need one. Okay.
Great idea. He's making sure it's very difficult for me. Oh, we could use timers too. We could. Okay. Ready when you are, Bill. 3, 2, 1, go. We'll do a variation this time on the 2-hand solving that you've been seeing. Ready, Bill?
The blindfold?
Now, yes, for the grand finale, maybe actually bring up another Speedcuber guest.
Sure.
So we'd like to, shaking your head, but I think we have the best blindfold.
Oh, I only have one blindfold.
Building here, and it is not Bill or myself.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'd love to bring up Antoine. Okay. All right, so I'm going to scramble the cube.
All right.
For Antoine.
Yeah, you get yourself.
Do you want to do the blindfold?
Yeah,
You
sure.
can put it on yourself. I don't
All right.
want
All
to.
right.
So we'll give this a try. How does this work?
Maybe we.
Make a knot and put it on?
Okay, that's a good idea.
So I was going to give a bit of a talk after that, and
Yes.
I'll introduce myself a little bit more later, but for now I guess I'm just going to get put on the spot, see
Yes,
what I can do here.
I will call you up with a brief introduction a little bit later.
All right.
So I have done a good job making this as difficult as possible.
All right.
And now, for blindfold solving, how it works is there's nothing tactile to it. You're not feeling the pieces and you know what to do. You have to look at the cube, memorize where everything is, and plan out your solve in advance. And so Antoine's going to take probably a minute or so to look at the cube, memorize it. And so in that time, he'd appreciate complete silence. And then he will put on the blindfold and begin the attempt. Ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
That is so impressive. I don't know, takes my breath away. Absolutely amazing. Thank you to the three of you. Thank you. Okay, I'll take the blindfold back. All right, so now I would like to welcome to the stage Antoine Cantin. Antoine is a 5-time Rubik's Cube World Record holder, a native of the Ottawa area, and has become one of the main organizers for the National Capital Region Rubik's Cube Competition Series. So,
I already have a microphone.
excuse me?
I already have a microphone.
Oh, okay, all right. So you can
Yeah.
stand there if you'd like, yeah.
Sure. So as I've been introduced, I am a Speedcuber, and I am native of, born and raised in the Ottawa area, and actually proud to say that I'm also ethnically half Hungarian. And so I think it's really suitable for this event as well. And
That makes sense.
and I'm here to talk a little bit about my experiences with the Rubik's Cube. So, as I understand, when it first came out, the Rubik's Cube was actually known as the Magic Cube. And that's still a name that goes on in many different languages today. It's still known as the Magic Cube. Now, why Magic Cube? Well, I think that it can really mean different things to different people. To some, it can be just because it's an amazing toy. It can also be an opportunity for learning and for growth, or a vessel for competition, or even a phenomenon that brings people together. I think that in my life, it's really been all of those things. When I was a kid, it was a toy that I just really liked to play with. And then eventually it turned into something that I learned a lot about, and then I strived to improve my techniques and my knowledge of the cube, eventually becoming something that I competed in international competitions, and broke world records. But I think that deep down, the true magic of the Rubik's Cube for me comes from its ability to create friendships, create communities, and experiences. Through the Rubik's Cube, I've made some of my best and most special friends. It's also allowed me to become part of the amazing Rubik's Cube community all around the world. So in Canada, but also integrating myself in the communities in South America, in Europe, in China, and Australia, and really broadening my horizons and gaining a better understanding of the world through the people, through the magic of the Rubik's Cube. Locally and at home in Ottawa as well, I've really been involved in a lot of events, bringing people together through the cube. Notably, as it was mentioned, I've organized all of the officially sanctioned competitions in the Ottawa area that our champion today participated in as well. And in those competitions, I could really see the magic of the cube at work, whether it was through new friendships being created, or long-parted friends being reunited again, or even just through the usually very shy and reserved kids now becoming animated, full of energy because of their new or their shared hobbies. Now, unfortunately, through the pandemic, we haven't been able to have that kind of event. But I'm really happy to see through events like we have today that the magic of the cube is still alive. And I hope that every one of you today here in the audience, whether it's in person or online, is also able to feel the magic of the cube in your own way. And that, whether if it's only magic for the day today, or if, like me, it grows into a lifetime of magic. Thank you.
That lovely speech. I'm very happy you could be here today to participate. Now we're going to move into a moderated question and answer. I would ask Professor Rubik to come up to one of the chairs on the stage. When people registered, we asked them to send us questions. So I have questions from the registrants on the live stream, as well as some of the registrants who are here. So I will start. The first question comes from Noah Winch, who is 10 years old, and he asks, what inspired you to make the Rubik's Cube, and why did you make it?
That's a question that is very easy to ask, and it's very difficult to answer. So that's a very typical one. And I got it several times. It's interesting why people are interested about this in this way. So life is full of inspiration. It depends on you which one you recognize and which one strong enough to move you on and starting with something. And usually it's the directions are not so clear at the beginning, but you can have some kind of intuition, imagination. You can dream of something and you can feel the value. The value is what we are running for, to achieve some different level of something, or you see the richness of the potential result and such a thing. But it takes time to achieve that. But gradually it's growing with success partly and failures and so on. That's a long, depend on the task, it's longer or shorter, but it takes time, all the time it takes time. So they are only, how can I say, fairy tales to think just to invent something is happen at once. Nothing. I don't believe that. I don't believe you can dream of one night and wake up in the morning and you find something and it's finished. So that's not the way. But it's a good beginning. And very shortly, that's it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but I do have to remind you to keep your mask over your nose. Sorry about that. And I forgot to say to the audience that we will be taking questions from the audience after we have the questions that were submitted. So think about questions. Miriam Al-Jassim from Industrial Design and Surya Balaji from Computer Science have asked, what was the design process like when creating the cube? How did you come up with the solution?
with hard work. So that if she's a designer, so I'm sure she's already familiar with this kind of process. Design is an activity based on our understanding about the needs of material, the potential of material, and the needs of people. And to put together the whole thing and fulfill the needs and optimize the process, and finally we can find a solution. And sometimes this solution is nothing else, just a slightly modified different thing what is existed before, or can be born something very original and new. You know, the cube as an object, as a result of design. It's in one hand, it's ancient, thousands of times, of years. People know the cube as a form, the geometrical one. It became a symbol of lots of things as a form. And what I did is nothing else, just put together elements of it, so divided, you can say, a big one to smaller pieces. The cube is a very unique solid because it can fulfill space without gaps. No any other regular solid can do that. And so all of the pieces are identical and capable to fulfill space. That gives a potential of the filling very variable and so many different ways. But to do it in line, as we are doing it if we are building from cubes in the kindergarten, you know, it's simple. So it's an additional. With my structure, it's complex because the rule of changing the spaces or the space of the elements are closed, I can say. So it's not an open one. So it's not something like when you have a jigsaw puzzle and put together the pieces. Here they are scrambled, and take away one, find the right place, put it there. Very easy to do. The only task is to find the right place for the right pieces. Here, the cube is doing this by itself according to our moves. So, and that was one idea. My idea was to have a puzzle, but you can't lose any piece. You know, it's a very disturbing if you have a puzzle and you are missing one of them. And other thing is as well, so keeping the rule the rule is built in to the product. So you don't need instruction sheets. Generally speaking, I hate very much instruction sheets because they are usually wrong. It's a very special type of task to write down how to use an object or an instrument or something like that. And there are so many failures on that. Here is the third one is you don't need to define the goal. What is your goal? Usually, traditionally, the puzzles are take it apart and put it together type of thing. But here, the goal is very simple because if you get it, you see the final goal. It's ordered. And the simplest order, but it's possible because it's similar. It is one side, one color, that's all. And just not to be careful, we try to move it on, and after a few turns, we would like to come back. And we're facing the problem. And this problem became more and more serious because that's like in a labyrinth, you are not finding your way out, but you are going deeper into a labyrinth. It's getting darker and darker, you know that. So that's very simple about the design form. The colors of the cube are coding. Coding is a very important thing in design. We are coding a lot of things. Here, that was what I found the simplest way of coding because I thought the task itself, it's so difficult. If you make it more difficult by learning the codes, it makes it more disturbing. So the simplest coding was what I found, it is the colors which are alive, and colors, it's connected, it's like, how can I say, it's part of life in my view, especially the bright colors. Thank you.
That's fascinating. I saw a picture of the one that you had made by hand, and it's similar, but looks different from the way the cube has evolved nowadays.
Naturally, so, you know, I'm from the last century. For this age group, it's very strange. But in that time, you can imagine or not, there was no 3D printing. So we were needed to make models. And I can offer to try to do that. So using the tools in the workshop and papers, material, different kind of material, learn how to use the tools and so on and so forth. The tools and using the tools keeping you in, how can I say, keeping your direction, but is possible or not possible. So not try to make something what is not possible to achieve. And I needed to use my hands and to hold the object. So not usually I'm not planning in a piece of paper. I'm planning in my mind and try to realize it. So in that sense, modeling, I believe, it's very important. Virtual modeling, it's a different thing, but it's very efficient in one way, but in other way, I think had several weaknesses according to the real models, which are made of paper, there is a scale, and so on and so forth. So that's a very complex task. I don't want to go deeply into it. So that's why the starting, it looks different. I use, for example, material, but it was easy to transform and cutting and so on. So I am familiar with the wood, what is a natural material, and I use this one.
Thank you. So Kirk Bowlby from the Faculty of Engineering and Design and Shimei Shah from Environmental Engineering ask, how many different iterations and designs did it take before you landed on the right mechanism? And what are some lesser known prototypes?
What is?
Lesser known prototypes. So the first question is, how many different iterations and designs did it take before you finally landed on the right mechanism? And what are some lesser known prototypes?
You know, how can I say? So if you are prototyping, that's like the staircase. You are going on and modifying and make it more close to the final goal. So how can I say? Partly I can say uncountable because I don't remember. Okay. it was a lot because I tried two different kind of solutions. The big step was when because I started with the 2x2 assembled cubes and stepped on the 3x3, but looks more complex task, but I found out that the solution for the 2x2 is the 3x3. So what sounds strange, but if somebody is a little bit thinking on, I'm sure understand it. So and finally, what I was created, not really the cube, I created a system what you can extend in many different geometrical formats. It's capable. It's possible to use it all of the platinic solid, and not ordinary ones as well. But usually it's better to have these symmetries, and because the platinic solid has very rich on symmetries that high up the potential of the variations and the challenge.
That's fascinating, the process that you went through. Boris Volkovic from Carleton's READ initiative and Christopher Jordan from the Spratt School of Business were wondering, and you did answer this one already, how did you pick those specific colors and why? Did you have a different color palette initially, and if so, what were they? So you answered the first one about why you picked the specific colors.
Probably you heard that answer for that question as well. So
And were those always your colors?
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't have a different color palette. Violetta Molokopoi from the Faculty of Science. How do you feel about the attention and popularity the Rubik's Cube has garnered? I'm sure you get this question a lot.
That's what I try to explain in my book, and partly probably you can read it out. So that's I think that's the most magical part of the cube. So how human being in general, I can say, reacted on this, and how universal it is. The language of the cube is really universal. I was speaking about the cube doesn't need any kind of instruction, no any wordings. That means everybody can understand in any kind of languages, or not able to speak, but visual coding, it's a very universal coding, and designers know that this, and they are working on this. And it's much stronger than words. Words are sometimes very weak. That's I'm explaining in my book. It's how difficult for me to use the words, because it's as a material so flexible. So you can one reader think something else than the other one reading the same sentence. So that it's very difficult to formulate it. It only has only one meaning. So and what else? Probably it's in short form, yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm sure many people in the audience would agree that hands-on sometimes is the best way to learn something and the best way to understand something. So Liam McKay from the Faculty of Science asks, after their initial formal solutions, usually by particularly bright individuals, puzzles, games like chess or the Rubik's Cube become less about solving problems and more about memorizing heuristic solutions or patterns. Do you believe the attention paid to the heuristics detract from the original intent of the cube or puzzle games in general?
The question is, what do you mean in trap? When we are hunting and catch animals, and that means no move further, or it's a trap what is open the door and you can see another world but it's not visible before. So that's so there are many again with the word. So you know, the speedcubing, just a few words about speedcubing we have seen before. And naturally, right now, the air, the atmosphere, it's very different. I'm sure some of the boys are already imagined or experienced, but the difference is if there are 200 people all together, all around the world, and they meet with each other and have the same, how can I say, basic for encounter and discussion, and they enjoyed the company. So it's a very warm and very, how can I say, the opposite what is here now. We are close to each other, we have open to, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, this situation doesn't help very much. It was the company tried to organize an online competition, but I'm sure it was interesting, but it was not the real encounter of people. So I was not thinking about competition when I was making the cube. I'm sure you can. That's the same thing. I believe if somebody find a rounded fruit and rolling on the ground as a child, not thinking about soccer and that kind of games, with a ball, you can have lots of big number of different kind of games using the very interesting physical nature and capability of a ball. But it's a very interesting type of geometrical form. So I was not thinking about this. I was thinking about my target to open a window from a special area of nature and potential of mathematical and physical object. And but it was growing. Interestingly, the very first time in '82, the company who was distributing the cube organized a world competition. It was held in Budapest in '82, and it was the times was very different than today. It was a starting, and close to 20 years there was no world competition at all. And in 2003, if I remember well, especially in Canada, was organized again the next world competition by the cubers. So it was not an initiative for any kind of companies and so on, but kids, or a little bit bigger kids, young people with believe that something really interesting, important, and good to meet people who had the same interest. And from that time, it became a very growing activity, a growing community, worldwide community of cubers, I can say. And it's right now in worldwide, in 1 year, around 1,000 competitions organized. And every 2 years there's a world competition, and there are national competitions. So because it's a typical thing, you know, in any kind of sports where there is a goal and you can win and beat the others, it's happened. So and that's a very good thing, I believe. Nature is not the only one. What we are working on to have it in the school, from the elementary to the university. So that's there are so many different levels you can analyze or learn from the cube.
Thank you. I think it's a good lesson for students when they invent something and put it out in the world. You're never quite sure what's going to happen with it, where it's going to go, how it's going to develop, what people are going to do with it. So I think that's an important lesson for us to remember. Larry Goodwin from engineering wants to know, when you first developed the cube and scramble it, how long did it take you to unscramble it the first time?
My task was try to understand the result of my doing. So I made a rigid object became flexible and changeable, and it was needed to discover what happened and what is the nature of the movement or the changes. So that's it, and that's what I can suggest to everyone thinking about a problem. The first thing is to facing with the problem. Try to understand what is the problem. Without that, you are not able to look any kind of solution. So, it was not a very long time, but in about 1 month, I understood the simplest. How can I simplify the very complex movements? That means you need to pay attention only a fraction of the elements, and try to understand how it's moved. And after that, the next step is to find movements that is only a few number of elements are changing in position. So, and after that you can handle this and so on and so forth. But there are so many further potentials, but I don't want to right now go on. Okay.
So one of the things I find fascinating about the university is that you can pose a problem, but different people will understand the problem differently depending on where they're coming from. So somebody in engineering would understand it one way, somebody in cognitive science would understand it another way, somebody in Sprott would understand it another way, and that's one of the things that keeps me fascinated being in the university.
Yes, we are different and we have different view for the same target or same subject.
I wouldn't know what to do with a piece of plastic and making it into something that can move. So I find that fascinating. I'll take one more question from my list, and then if there are questions from the audience, so get ready with your questions. Hugh Mei Huang wants to know, what has been the biggest change in your life after the Rubik's Cube invention?
Biggest what?
The biggest change in your life after the invention of the Rubik's Cube.
Time is running.
Time is running.
You know, it makes changes. I would never be able to experience such a situation when we are now in worldwide. So there are good ones and bad ones. I was able to see the world. I was mostly all around the world. All the time the cube was ahead of me. So and to see people and their relationship with and happiness on discovering something and to be able to use and so on and so forth, it's all the time a very good feeling.
Thank you. Anyone from the audience with a question, or else I'll go back to these? Okay, we have a question there. Do you want to stand up and say it loud? Actually, you know what? Why don't you move closer, because I don't think we're going to understand you.
Yeah. Good.
My question was just, what did you feel the Rubik's Cube's contributions to mathematics and science were? We've talked about the design aspects, but what about the mathematical components?
Naturally, the basic question, what math means, what is the definition of math? So my interest from childhood, when I started to go to school and so on, inside math, I was very interested about geometry. The geometry, there is a visual element of it. I was interested about art as well, and art and visual appearance and geometry are very close to each other, and that's one thing. But naturally, I have some knowledge and some interest about math. It doesn't. I was probably the best in math in my class, but it doesn't meant I wanted to become a mathematician. So math for me was a too dry or abstract phenomenon. So I liked all the time materials, what you can touch, you can see, you can smell, and so on. So the real life. So and that's why I studied painting, sculpturing, architecture, design. So to do something, and where this art is useful partly, and it has beauty and art. It's a very important component of it. When the 80s it became so strong. I remember I think Time has a yearly publication about the year, and I was there, and they asked me about something, and I said, for me the cube is a piece of art, and still now I feel this way. A piece of art and something else at the same time. So it's a very complex object, but I like the beauty of geometry, the clarity of geometry, the clarity that speaks about perfections without knowing we are not able to reach it. That's a very contradiction, but I love contradictions, so I think it's a very important part of our life and way of thinking.
So for those of us who are always striving perfection, knowing that you can't get there is a little bit daunting, but helpful. I think you had a question.
Yeah, I was just like last night watching videos of like the world record getting broken like over the last like 30 years. I was wondering how much faster you think people will be able to do it. Like in 10 years time, 20 years time, like is there a point where it's like impossible to be any faster?
You know, it's with most of in any sports. It's all the time that's a question: how is possible to? There is an end of something or not. So that's, for example, the 100 meters run and that kind of thing. But there's very little difference you can tell. Or for a long time, nobody is capable to do and cut the time. And after that, it's happened. That's one thing. Other thing is, naturally, there are physical limits. Physical limits, what is very difficult. Sometimes the equipment are changing. Sometimes the how can I say, running, the shoe is very important. The starting point is very important. The surface of the running, and many other things. And for a longer period of time, it's possible we are changing, the human body is changing. So that's, who knows? That's one thing. But in connection with the cube, what I'm thinking on, again, it was, at the beginning, it was a discussion about that. It's not very entertaining because practically you don't see anything. So nature, the cuber who is doing it, I don't know how to say, he feels what and see inside what's happening. But for the audience, what the audience can see. So in my mind, I can see some possibilities further on. One thing is to make some kind of, how can I say, not only the speed, but different kind of circumstances which are gives you a different task. And nature, and the other thing is, nature, right now we are not speaking about, but speed cubing competition is not about only speed cubing. The success of the cube was generated a whole group of puzzles based on the very similar principle. We are calling them twisty puzzles, and all of them are connected with twisting, turning, and scrambling and re-scrambling the complex item. And they are, for example, remain with the cube. There is a 2x2, but is less and easier. And the fact, the going up, the 3x3, 4x4, 5x5, 7x7, and 6x6, and so on, or the different geometrical forms. So you can use, interestingly, not yet the octahedron is part of the speed cubing competition, but I think it's the same. The octahedron and the cube is dual. So they are related with each other, and I'm sure the content of the solution are very similar to that. So, and the interest of that, but very different on handling. The square, it's very different than the rectangle. I think it's trivial. Thank you.
That's fascinating. Yeah, I can't even imagine a rectangle. I've never seen that one, so I think that's fascinating. Other questions from the audience?
Thank you.
Because I have some more I'll go back to on the page. Nope. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. I missed it. Please, come on up.
Be brave.
I have a very deep philosophical question for you. Which puzzle is your favorite?
Which puzzle is your favorite and why?
Probably you can find it out. So it's here. How can I say? I found the whole life very puzzling. So puzzle is not limited on that thing, but is we call it puzzle, and you can buy in the shop. So the life is full of puzzles, so that means full of problems. That's one part. Other part is what is more close, not so general. Design. It's a big puzzle. So design is, we are using materials, we have limitation on technology, price, and so on, and we have some kind of function that we would like to fulfill. It's a big puzzle. So I prefer this one. Thank you.
Noah, do you want to come up and ask your question?
Small boy, big cube.
Yeah, you're going to have to come closer and really speak loudly.
My question is, do you think that the Rubik's Cube teaches any life lessons?
Do you think that the Rubik's Cube teaches any life lessons?
Life lesson. The cube teaches you to beat problems, and life is full of problems. So, and their problems in general are very close to each other. There is, you can divide the problems, which are usually very complex, to smaller parts, to try to find solutions on this one, as small as possible, and then build together these elements of solution, and at the end, you are beating the original question.
Thank you, Noah. Other questions from the audience? I know I have to swivel around.
You know already everything. Thank you.
I have a couple more here. So, can you speak to the importance of education and why it is so imperative to encourage and support creativity?
Creativity is not a result of education. Creativity is built in our nature and our existence. Creativity based on the possibilities of the world and of the universe and the elements of the universe, nature. So education is the task of education in that sense, to let us be creative. So it's not possible to push to be creative because it's happened by itself, but let it happen. Sometimes it's limited because if the school expecting ready-made answer, it's not creativity, it's only memory.
I like that. So Peter Asudar from computer science, a computer science teacher with the Ottawa Carleton District School Board, he asks, do you think that the cubes, the Rubik's Cube, their Pyramix, the Megamix, will find their way into educational curricula around the world to teach students and teachers how to learn to solve the cube using trigonometry?
I think so. I can say that. Just next to this, because of his way of part of science. So the cube, in my view, is somewhere in a no man's land. It's part of art, part of math, and part of how can I say, the digital view of the world and the analog view of the world. So the cube is moving analogs, because turning, it's an analog movement, but the result of turning can be digitalized very easy. And to the algorithm, that is a digital term, can be used and can be direct our analog movements, which we are doing on. We can't move it like this, so that we are not robots. Thank you.
So Autumn Bernard from the Faculty of Engineering, is Autumn in here? Can you raise your hand? I think, oh, there she is. Okay, Autumn submitted this question. I think people want to get to know you beyond being the inventor of the Rubik's Cube. So she asks, what is something that you are proud of having done in your lifetime that you would like to share with us?
I have 4 kids and I have 6 grandchildren, and they are happy.
Very good thing to be proud of. All right, other questions from the audience? No, I don't see. So I think we'll have one last question, and then I'll ask the competitors to come up and pick up their cubes, and if you want to, say a few words to Professor Rubik. So the last question is, it is fairly well known that you have a special interest in science fiction. What is it about the genre that you like, and what are some of your favorite titles?
So my interest was stronger about the age of the audience here. I remember all the time I went back from the school and I crossed the bookshop and I was looking something new and something else. Science fiction, it's how can I say, it's a very special part of literature, and the good science fiction is based on science. The bad science fiction, not really. That's one thing. Other thing is science fiction speaks about possibilities. Unfortunately, nowadays most of the science fiction speak about the possible disaster. We made so many failures in society, and if anyone you can magnify, that's a disaster, and what will be the result of disaster? That's an interesting story. But so there is how can I say, the utopias and dystopias contradict to each other, and no anyway they are real. Utopias are how can I say, make it life seemingly more beautiful when it is possible, and sometimes for me it seems very boring. And these dystopias make life much worse as it is, but it is worse enough. You don't need to magnify that. So that's my well. I like very much Asimov. I met with him personally. Unfortunately, he gone. But his way of thinking and his way of science fiction and how to express. But several others I can believe.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So if the audience could join me in a round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'd ask the competitors to come up and please pick up your cubes. And just to conclude, this concludes the live stream portion of our event. Thank you to everyone who tuned in at home. Hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to invite our competitors to come pick up their cubes, and you can ask Mr. Rubik to sign them for you.